Well, um, I started it a while back out of college. I graduated with my accounting degree. However, I saw 2002. I saw the real estate boom. I told my parents I wasn't going to do it. Accounting, after getting a job with one of the big accounting firms, decided to go into real estate and doing pretty well in terms of what I did as a salesperson. 2007, I realized that I wasn't making any money and decided to go into the foreclosure business. Got hooked up with a couple people in North Carolina who introduced me to, can you hear me better now in the back there? Who introduced me to Fannie Mae, and once I got Fannie Mae as a client, it opened up a lot of doors, and I got about 13 other banks. So that's how I started in the foreclosure brokerage, selling about over 100 each year since 2008. So I do quite a bit in Worcester alone, selling probably about 40 to 50 properties per year. So how many people have bought Worcester foreclosed properties within the past 1 year? 1 year. Not too many. I expect it to be more. One thing that I wanted to say is before we go forward, we got to look at what happened in the past. In 2014, 2013, most purchases were actually done by cash. Banks realized that a lot of people had equity, investors. If you didn't buy in 12, 13, very difficult to buy these bank loans now in 2014. There's a lot of competition out there now. 2014, inventories have been low, as you guys have probably seen. Anybody has MLS access directly through MLS PIN? Okay. I'm going to show you on the realtor side how I get calls all the time. I sell a lot of properties, I have a lot in the market. I get calls all the time from investors. And my job here tonight is to explain to you what my job is when I'm dealing with investors that come in and say, listen, I want a great deal. Right? You want to buy at a low price. When I hear that, as a representative of the bank listing these properties, not that I'm not going to call you back or give you the time of day, but there's a lot of people who want to buy at a fair market price. So it makes it very difficult for these investors to buy moving forward, because you want to buy it at a low price, and that's not happening. And I'll go over some statistics to show why that is. 2014, prices will continue to go up. I don't know if you realized how much they've gone up. It's likely one of the reasons why not a lot of hands has been risen that you didn't buy your property this year, because the prices have gone crazy. Fannie Mae has a big chunk of the inventory. Fannie Mae, let's say I tell them, listen, a property this multifamily should sell for $200,000. They're going to automatically list that property for 20% more this year. They changed the rule this 2013, 20% more. 2013, I tell them a property is going to be selling for $200,000. They'll say, okay, let's list it at $205,000. So they put it barely above it. However, because of this low inventory, so much demand, they're listing the property at 20% over what they truly believe is going to sell for. And it's selling above list price, which is one of the reasons why, if you haven't bought it, for the foreclosure side, it's going to make it more difficult for you to buy it 2014.
The other thing that's happening quite a bit, home builders, right? Permits are going up left and right everywhere. So is that good or bad for investors that you want to buy for the rental side? Do you think that's a good sign or a bad sign for investors? Let's see you raise your hands. Good. Gentleman says it's bad. For me, on the REO side, it's going to decrease. It's going to create more demand for these properties, for the REO properties. The more property there is out there, brand new, the better it is for the entire market, but it's bad for the foreclosure business. The foreclosure prices will increase even more there, in my opinion. Multifamilies in Worcester. This is for the past 12 months. I took this out of the MLS today. Can you see that a little bit? So our numbers vary just a tiny bit just because of the date that we pulled it. But yes, 306 multifamily sold in Worcester with an average days on market of 77 days and $180,000 average price. But this is where it gets interesting. List price to sold price ratio, 97%. Whatever you listed for, there was only a 3% negotiation. Original list price to final sales price, 95%. So what happens is, properties got listed for $200,000. They reduced 2%, and then they sold it for 3% less. Does that kind of make sense? The vast majority of multifamily sold between 150 and 200, 82 of them. So it gives you a breakdown of the properties. Out of these 306 properties, how many do you think were bank-owned foreclosures? 10? Who thinks it's less than 10? More than 50? More than 50? $58 of three, so about 18%. For the past 12 months, 18% of properties were REOs. The media makes it seem like it's a lot more, but that's not the case for multifamilies. What happened in the past quarter, right? Just the past 3 months. Again, just Worcester multifamilies. 72 properties sold. Again, 78 days average on market. Same thing, 77 for the year, 78 for the past quarter. Average sales price is 200 now. Remember what it was for the whole year? 180. That's a big chunk, a price increase. Now, in the past quarter, 16% of these properties were REO. Less REO, higher prices. That's what you're seeing. And look at this, 2% negotiation. Again, prices are increasing. Days on the markets are staying about the same. Inventory is decreasing. So when you're out there looking for, let me buy a bank-owned property, and you focus on that as an investor, you're shooting yourself in the foot, is what I'm trying to say. That's my business, but that's what you're doing. So don't focus and say, let me buy a bank-owned foreclosure because it's a great deal. Obviously, there are great opportunities out there, no doubt about it, but it doesn't mean it's a great deal. And I have this conversation with investors all the time. Is that bad for me? Not really, because somebody who's educated, I'm not going to spend my time, right? Because they know, well, I either do it or don't do it. Here, it is what it is, so you can't try to finagle and then be, okay, I haven't bought anything, I'm upset with myself, everybody around me is buying it, and you're not buying it. Well, there's a reason for it. So just make sure you look at the statistics on what can happen. Did you know this statistics? November 2013, nearly 50% of all homes were cash transactions. Nearly 50%. So you're saying, I have cash, I'm better than the next person who's putting in the offer. No, that's not the case. So when you call my office and I say, well, we have it on the offer, well, is it cash? That's the first question. Is it cash? And I say yes, you're like, yeah, all right. Well, the statistics is here to let you know, yes, it is cash. It's not that we're trying to fool you. The market is a cash market. Just because you have cash doesn't give you a leg up. In 50% of the times, equal footing with everybody else. Like I started in the beginning, 2013, investors made a killing. Prices went up, they bought it, prices continued to go up. 2014, it's going to be for owner occupants. The reason is prices are so high now, the margins may or may not be there in general for these multifamily homes. Where do you get your data? Right? Very important. MLS is a primary data gathering place, and that's if you have access to it directly. Many of you may not have access to the MLS directly, but I wanted to give you some other stuff that you should at least be aware. Obviously, if you're looking for properties for sale, MLS PIN, Realtor.com, but property signs. Now, when I pick up a foreclosed property, the bank emails me. I have to go to the property, see if it's occupied or not. If it's vacant, Worcester makes me register the property and put a big sign on it that says this property is being managed by Lisboa Realty. As you're driving around, you are an investor. You don't have to wait to hit MLS. My number is there. It's mandatory. Give me a call. Or anybody else, any realtor out there who gets these bank-owned foreclosures, give them a call and say, listen, I'm interested in that property that's coming up for sale. Nilton, what's it going to sell for? I don't know. When is it coming on the market? I don't know. Then you get frustrated because you think I'm not giving you the answers. Not that I'm not giving you the answers. I just don't have those answers to give you right now. But it builds up that relationship. So when it becomes available, I can go ahead and give it to you. For me, as a realtor, I advertise on Zillow, Trulia. Anybody go to Showcase? Showcase.com. Again, if you are an investor, if you're looking for investment property, Showcase has quite a bit here in the Worcester County area. For news on what's going on, what's the trend, right? You're looking at it, again, from my perspective as a real estate professional, DS News. This is the distressed mortgage news. This is what are the banks saying? What's going on? What's the trend? DS News, I read this page every single day because every day it tells you what's coming up in terms of the mortgage and the foreclosed business. Anybody go to builderonline.com? Anybody else goes to builderonline.com? Raise your hand. Tons of statistics. I don't know if you've ever gone here. It's a free website, free membership. You put in there, it tells you how many permits are being pulled for Worcester. You put in a zip code and you get that. What's the price trend going for? All this information on builderonline.com. If you are a true investor, in my opinion, the information that's on this website, it's not just for builders. It's for the investor who wants to truly make an educated decision, which means, oh, the property's listed for $200,000. I want to pay $185,000. Well, maybe it is worth $200,000 because you're going on your gut and you just want to get a deal. Well, maybe the deal is the 200,000. Check the statistics right there, which is free because you don't have the MLS access that I can go in and go real quick. But this allows you to go in with a little more research. LoopNet, usually a little bit bigger properties. UMF.com. People familiar with this website as well? It's a Massachusetts brokerage company. All they do is multifamily properties. That's all they do. And they have quite big inventory there. For multifamilies, they're talking about 20, 30, 40 units. The good thing about the brokers that work for this company, again, I'm not getting paid for them, obviously. They will actually hook up with other investors. Let's say somebody only has $50,000. The other person got 50. A person got 200. Now they can put it together and they get able to buy their bigger property. Auction.com. Anybody bought a property through auction.com? There's good and bad about that. Not as much going on here, a lot more competition. So the prices go up, and the prices go up the last 2 hours of that auction. Okay, so you go in, starting low bid, $50,000, gets sold for $200,000. But you have the properties that are on auction.com, 9 out of 10 times you have access to go inside. 9 out of 10 times. And obviously the homepath.com and Home Steps. These are Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac properties that are coming on the market, so you can do your drive-by, do your due diligence, go ahead and check the statistics on Builder Online. Again, allows you to make an educated decision. If you want to buy a foreclosed property that gets listed, and this is me elevating myself a little bit, just a little, very important that you build a relationship with agents that list bank-owned properties. The reason is all the offers have to come through that listing agent's office. We know all the offers that are coming in, the type of demand there are, and we can educate you in making a decision to be able to buy a property or not. Like everything else in life, there's a couple players who dominate a particular market. I'm not saying that we're better or not, we're just lucky to be in that position. And if you want to play in that field, in my opinion, it behooves you to make those types of connections. Now, for my office, I sell about 10% of my inventory. Not a lot, 10%. Those 10% are investors, not owner-occupants. They are investors. They're cash buyers. And I'll tell you why I choose to deal with those 10% versus dealing with more in a second here. The reason is REO agents, we have a lot of responsibilities with these banks. Each bank requires us to do more and more each day. On the pre-list side, okay? And that's why sometimes you can't get a hold of me. You can get a hold of my office, but not me necessarily. I got to do weekly occupancies. Every single week, I got to take a date stamp photo, submit it to the bank. I haven't made a dime here. Property is occupied. It's going to be occupied for 10 months. Yet, I got to go there on a weekly basis. Just to give you an idea. Put utilities, pay for all of those utilities. And I pay for it, and then I get reimbursed. 2 months later, 3 months later, I have properties that I haven't been reimbursed since the summer that I have to front the money and then get back. So from a realtor perspective or a real estate agent perspective, handling these bank-owned foreclosures, when you say, well, I don't have the time to go show properties around and educate you. If you come to the office educated, increases your chances of being that 10% in getting these properties. Sheriff lockouts, rekeys, that's all part of my responsibility working for the bank. A very small part is that BPO, broker price opinion, for me to give them the value of the property. But these are all the stuff that I still have to do. Then once a property gets listed, this is what my office has to do still. The weekly inspections continue. Now, from the day that I pick a property up through the day that I sell that property, that's 10 months. 10 months times 4 inspections per month. It adds up. So there's quite a bit that needs to be done. So then when you want to deal with a real estate agent who sells bank-owned foreclosure, or better said, who lists bank-owned foreclosure, we, in general, don't have the time to educate you. If you come uneducated, it's not going to work. If you come educated, your chances increase quite a bit more in terms of being able to buy one of these bank-owned foreclosures. Turn-offs. Turn-offs from investors who call the office is what they say. Yeah, looking for a great deal. Or there's a property out there, it's $200,000. You say, I want to pay $180 for it. Again, 9 out of 10 investors who call the office, they come with one of these lines. I'm a cash buyer. Believing because I'm a cash buyer, answer my call me back. Not that I don't, because that's a professionalism issue. But on my schedule, what will the bank take? Again, whenever you pose a question to a listing agent, what will the bank take? There's a lot of conflict of interest there. So by you asking that question, it just shows your level of understanding of this culture of selling these bank-owned foreclosures. So just be aware of that. Turn-ons. Now, this is what gets us excited. When you call in and says, okay, what will it take? You're not imposing, say, I'm going to pay this price for it. Just changing the words puts that listing agent on a totally different mentality. I can work with this person. I'm looking for your guidance. You know exactly what you want to pay for. You want to pay $160,000. But don't tell me that. By you telling me that, that's a cutoff. It cuts that communication, cuts that ability for you to be able to purchase that property with that agent. Again, a great question. If you call an agent and say, listen, what's the strategy that they're using, and what do you recommend I do? Regardless of what you want, you know what you want to buy it for, but that's fine. Gather the information. So I see lots of investors, great intentions, great ability, but they're not able to put the deal together because of this, because they don't know how to ask the right question. There's 1.2 million foreclosures coming up still. And these are very much going to be coming up. In Worcester area, the statistic is available. And actually, it's MassForeclosure.com. Worcester County, it tells you exactly how many there are. So it's MassForeclosure.com. So hopefully I answered a few different questions that you may have had in terms of the listing agent perspective. And I know, sorry, I may have been a little aggressive in that regard, but that's the reality that listing agents face. A lot of inventory that we have to deal with, a lot of activities. If you come educated, ask the right questions, a lot better chance for us to be able to work together and you to be able to buy a good property. Thank you.